food production, environmental conservation, that trade-off relation problem. Because 1 billion people increasing in Asia, African 0.9 billion, even this South American, more food necessary, as you know, because already 800 million people undernourishment. So that is statistic data from FAO. And more food necessary. Of course, we have to produce more food, but just production, more produce enough? Probably we have to think about global warming and air pollution, water pollution, so many environmental problems we meeting. So we have to solve those problems by agricultural sciences. And that is the most important issue we have to do together with us. We have to know the agriculture difference. As you know, we have small land. Indonesia, statistics data, just 1 hectare land in farm per farmer. Your Indonesian farmer number is very big, so that's why your land area is quite big. However, per farmer, that's very small. Similar with all other Asian countries, even China, big country, just 1.1, similar. Japan, Korea, also Malaysia is quite just a 4.0 hectare. Anyway, all Asians are this kind of small scale. Compared with the US or European countries, totally different. US 170. This is just on document. Actually, you may meet some American people, American farmers. They complain 500 hectares is too small for growing wheat. 500 hectares, too small for them. That's an amazing opinion from them. Yeah. Anyway, that kind of scale is totally different. Why we have such a difference? Because we are growing rice. Nashi goreng nashi. Anyway, that to grow nashi, to grow rice, we need precise water control, leveling, horizontal level, precisely. That is important. So big land cannot be paddy field. Small land can be because water control necessary. You can see American field is like this. This is a corn field, very big, but waved. You can see waved. They cannot grow rice here. See, Indonesian, Thailand, ASEAN countries, Japan, all similar. Asian, some mountainside, the paddy field is like that. Very precisely, leveling and put water control. That would be important. So I can say US, American, and European is a larger scale, extensive agriculture, but the Asian, small scale, intensive agriculture. And what's the difference? Of course, the efficiency difference, cost difference, price. That of course ours are not so cheap. But what are our advantages? That is quality and reliability compared with them. But some of people are thinking, we may ask US, we may ask Australia, we may ask European countries to grow rice. That's one way. International division of labor and higher dependency. Okay, they can grow rice for us. Maybe that is very difficult because if some problem occurred, we can't get any food. So the Japanese, unfortunately, grain sufficiency is very low, 40%. That's why some of people talk about that. However, we have to grow food by ourselves. Otherwise, once we got some disasters, some climate problems, would be big problem for ourselves. So that's why independence is important. Also, as I mentioned, they don't eat rice. No? We eat rice. Nashi is the most important. No? So that's why we need by ourselves. Now, one of the solution is this kind of typical machine for smart agriculture. That is robots, small robots. But at this moment, a little expensive. So we have to develop new technologies to make them cost down. But that is for small scale intensive agriculture because one person, one operator, plural machines control possible, and sensors, sensing systems to enhance the quality. This is, just immediately after harvesting, just threshing rice, they can get the taste sensor. That's amazing technology. This Japanese company, Kubota company, they can measure the protein, water, starch, and they can calculate the taste. So that would be the of course, yield sensor is also important, but the taste sensor was when I saw the some news, the Kubota company released a new model, and that combined harvester, installed taste sensor. Taste sensor. I saw the I just suspected that article. But they did that. Now they are doing this service for farmers. This is lower quality. This is higher quality. So they can feedback to farmers for the next season's quality and the yield. That's amazing technology. Kubota company is, this tractor looks like a robot. No operator's seat, no handle, just a solar panel to get the energy. That's amazing conceptual robot tractor from Kubota company. Yeah, anyway, then let me talk about just history, our agricultural robots in Japan. We did the seedling production first since 1982, and we tried to develop this fruit harvesting robot in 1990s. Many harvest robots are developed in Japan, but unfortunately not diffused yet. Even now we are struggling how to do this, how to diffuse this technology, and grading robot was already established. You may know precision agriculture oriented robots. This can be giving us very precise information by robots. You can see robots are working to pick the many fruits together and internal quality also. And currently, since 2013, you may know UAV, drone, and a small autonomous vehicle is working now. Just started working like this. So far, we have done that. I'm very happy to see a younger generation today. I wish you may succeed what we have done. I would like to convey what I learned so far to you. Please think about the next. What's next for your generation? Maybe since this year, next year? What kind of robots? What kind of automation systems? What kind of machines for your generation? Okay, I guess maybe more smaller micro insect type robots. I don't know. We consider together. We discuss together. for the next generation. Okay. Currently, we have this kind of small robots on Japanese website. Please take a look. These robots are already developed, but not so much diffused yet. So we have to do more, more effort necessary to do this. Okay? So this is all small scale, Asian style, not American style, Asian style, small scale intensive agriculture. And I'd like to show you the another technology that is fluorescence imaging, fluorescence activities of agriculture products, because very amazing information implied in these technologies. This kind of fruits comes and take images by white LEDs by this camera. And of course, we can get the color images like this. Color, size, shape, and some any defects outside, some appearance would be the easy. But very slight injury and very similar color defects would be difficult. So that we may do this. Quickly change into UV LED, ultraviolet LED, and fluorescence imaging. So it was rotten. It was a slight injury. It has some very small pinhole possible by these image acquisition systems. Not only white LED, but just add UV LEDs. Only that enough. And you can see, pinhole. So many pinholes. This was also pinhole. This is pinhole. So many pinhole. Why so many pinholes? This is farmer's fault. When farmer harvesting fruits, long time harvesting, they got tired. Then their scissors put but the farmer can't see pinhole. That's why, this is okay, into container. Then that would be mixed. If mixed, they may rotten by bacteria and influence the healthy fruits also. That's a big problem. Indonesia and ASEAN countries, higher temperature and higher humidity. That season, 1 week enough to spoil away all of them. So please, you have to separate even pinhole. That is a precise technology, and we need to do it. Even slight injury should be detected. Yeah. So I can say fluorescence imaging acquisition can give us a reduction of the food loss, post-harvest loss. And I can show the many activities. This is that the pinhole we can see, and here whitish color is chemical residues. Chemical residues also detected. And this rice. This is old one, 2 years ago. This is this year rice. So fluorescence higher, very enhanced, very higher brightness. Also, these so many activities based on the fluorescent substances. This one is a carrot. Carrot is a root. Fertilizer can give us fluorescence activities. For example, organic fertilizer give us a green color, but chemical fertilizer give us a blue color. This is a bluish color. I think this was grown in chemical fertilizer. So those kind of things, track would be possible. And this is after harvesting, day 1, day 3, day 7, blah, blah, blah. Very similar color, our eyes by color camera, but fluorescence imaging totally different. Also, earlier stage of disease, and chlorophyll show us this kind of activities, reddish color activities. That means we can get photosynthesis activities also. And another very interesting result is, you can see anything? Parasite worm would be highlighted like this. A little weird, but we can see parasite worm. And anyway, sorry, parasite worm also. And quality measurement, food safety, and also plant production control and chemical residue detection, also possible. Plus, early stage defect detection. You can see almost same 3 green peppers, but here, see, this is fluorescence images. Early disease detection possible. Plus, these green peppers, you can see a different texture. Looks like a similar color, similar green colors. But here, take a look. Different textures. Another, most of them are different textures. So that means fruit identification might be possible without label. So that means this is just a day 0, day 1, day 8. Even day 8, not so big change. That would be the texture, like a powder, but actually no powder here. That would be cuticular layers, burning. So, pollens, the put in sunlight gave us this kind of texture. That's amazing. Even day 39. Day 39 is too long, too late to eat. But even day 39 still left. Yeah, not only those tomato fruits, any these kind of fruits and vegetables have different textures. So label-free identification each fruit may be possible. Once you got this one, monitoring, monitors in the field, like this, then you can get the texture in-field monitoring data that with a robot that give us a location too. These fruits come from here, but after that we may sort. Then here also same fluorescence. Oh, this texture is same with this. That means these fruits come from here. So that means data matching possible. Data matching means the location and the quality possible. So that we can get evaluate the evaluation of this tree. This tree is good. This tree has some disease. This tree has some insects. Earlier stage, detection possible. Tree management possible. So far we have done field management, not field management. Each tree can be managed by this technology. And one more thing would be, even after retailer, even reach the consumers, if some problem occur and take images, that image would be matched. So this comes from here. This field, this row, this tree, this management possible. Also, that's a traceability, perfect traceability, super precision agriculture may be conducted. That would be a good thing. And another activities, fluorescence is even fish. That we have a local brand fish, and sometimes we may put the citrus peels feeding together with the other feeding, and it may give us a very nice flavor. Citrus flavor yellowtail, citrus flavor fish. And each prefecture has different specialties. Not only in this kind of mandarin orange, lemon, citron, some carbon, so many different. They have a different flavor. They have a different fluorescence activities. So this fluorescence can give us this green color, give us 400 to 600 green color or blue color. And if this fish ate this, fed this, would be river, their river. This has no citrus. This has citrus. River fluorescence is occurred. So that means this fish came from this location. This fish came from another prefecture. Those kind of information possible to be revealed if they hide that. Yeah, anyway, that is possible. So we can say fluorescence activities can give us a product tracking based on those feeding. But we have to think about the food loss because the 2 more billion people increasing. So think about this. In field, product loss is 10%, 14%, 10% from insect injury, and 14% disease loss. So totally 25%, and more weed. If weed, so many weeds, maybe this would be more, loss would be increased. How about post-harvest? Post-harvest usually about 30%. Then this 76% harvested products and 30% food loss away. And what's left? 53%, only 53% left. Almost half we are eating. Somehow reduce the food loss and waste. So we have to think about, as I mentioned, these grading systems can give us those kind of possibility. Just tell you the history of the grading systems. 1790s mechanization and 1990s non-destructive NIL inspection systems introduced in Japan, and fair payment and informatization market value up. And 2000 informatization, precision agriculture was spread. So that's why farming guidance, food safety, security was kept in traceability systems. So robots can give us a very precise information compared with the humans operation. Then, as I mentioned, fluorescence gave us a food loss. Even pinhole, slight injury could be detected. So far we have done. Then I'd like to say, younger generation, please think about the next. What's next? What kind of sensors? What kind of grading systems? Maybe, hopefully, I guess, functionality for our health, those kind of sensors, or new food creation for culture, new cultures for our friends. Please discuss with us. So what we have done in Japan is, quantitative satisfaction was necessary. Just after Second World War in Japan, that was a very big problem, and the lack of food. So we need more food necessary. Then that is important thing at that time. Then we somehow overcome this problem by mechanization. And next, this era, safety and security problem occurred. That would be pollution, chemical residues. Yeah? So we have to check by these kind of technologies. And currently, taste by NIR, near infrared technologies, freshness, fluorescence, functionality. We are now working on this for our health or for our diversified people's preference. So what we can say, we are now working quality measurement by using these technologies. And what's next? I guess next generation, maybe this affluence. This is the final goal. Food culture. Humans' affluent life is the final goal. So maybe we may make a food culture by food technology. just I'll show you the example. We are now conducting agriculture and livestock and aquaculture, but as I mentioned, in the field, food loss. Grading time, food loss. Distribution time, food loss. Storing and the cooking time also, food loss, food waste. And consumption. Also, we live, don't live, don't live too much. And garbage, full of garbage. Somehow, reduce, reuse, reproduce. Point is, actually, edible one can be separated into several materials, especially gel, rice gel, or another gel, or another powder. For example, tea powder we are using, and rice gel we are now using. Then, using this, of course, we need a new technology for making this separation. Using this 3D printer. 3D printer can give us new food. New food. For example, this is already existed. So, cookie and Mont Blanc. Mont Blanc is some cake and some chocolate. Already, they are now making. So, use your rice. Use your chicken, ayam, nashi, those kind of food. If you waste, you reuse, reproduce, please do it. But we need a design information necessary for new foods. And new taste necessary, new texture necessary, new balanced nutrition, thinking about humans' preference, humans' health. That's also important. Recently, livestock is a problem, suffering from some global warming problem because their birth, methane, CO2 would be big problem. That's why some of people are now making fake meat, fake vegetables. Maybe we can make fake meats by this 3D printer in the future. Another new snack. Please think about that. Establish new foods production to contribute sustainable food production. That is new food culture, right? This is the final page. Let me wrap up. This diversified small-scale agriculture is now conducted because smart agriculture for small-scale our field. That is totally different from other countries. Asian style. This is Asian style small-scale distributed agriculture. Our goal is diversified, healthy, and affluent lives. That is. But that we are meeting this problem. Somehow we have to do less loss. Here, production stage, this consumption stage also, less loss. Now we have to do many things, climate, adaptable operation, and how to grow. Then we have to think more about consumers. Consumers are so many types. Ladies wants to take, pretty luxury, very cute, and some very good taste. I know that. So please, we have to think, our producers, our technology can satisfy them, many people, many different types. So to enjoy a small, higher quality meat, not too much, different preference they have. Even, elderly people don't want too much. So those kind of things. That is another food culture creation. And what I'd like to say, one more thing. To do this, we need teaching. Education also important. Food education. So, and we may get more information through internet, through smartphone. And of course, we have to collaborate. Academia, not only academia, government, company, industry, those collaboration, plus farmers, producers, producers also, we do together, think about this. That is flexible manufacture systems in agriculture, on farm, okay? And for providing the many kinds of small amount of farm product each. Big amount of single crop is no good. That is the American style. Asian style is many kinds of even small amount, but very higher quality, and each would be independent. So we have to do this. Then start with developing sensors. That is what we have to do first. Okay, so I wish we discuss together, especially younger generation. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much, Kondo Sensei. I always fascinated watching your presentation because I always get new insight. And also watching your presentation bring me back to my time in Japan. I really miss laboratory very much, and Kamogawa and etc. in Kyoto especially. We will have question and answer after the Professor Indrawati Oi presentation. So we will get back to you, Kondo Sensei, later. And please welcome Professor Indrawati Oi. Hello, Professor Oi. Could you hear me? Is it all right? Could you hear me? Maybe you need to unmute your...
I think, yeah, I have to unmute.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm very glad to see you. I hope everything is fine there in New Zealand.
Yes, everything is fine here. It's very interesting that we are in a lockdown situations. And we have to do it also with the online and also lecture in person too.
Okay,
can you hear me?
Okay, I can hear you well. So without further ado, time and screen is yours, Professor.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Selamat pagi. Thank you for inviting me to give this lecture and share my expertise in the non-thermal processing technology. So Professor Kondo, thank you very much to give us a big background around post-harvest productions. Now I would like to introduce about the technology that we developed here in New Zealand for the post-harvest processing. So I will take a case study in the pulse electric field processing technology. So the idea for developing non-thermal processing, because all of the world actually heading to 2030 for the sustainable development goal. So including in the agriculture productions and post-harvest, we need to make sure that we can have enough productions for the food security and safety, but also importantly, we need to respect about our environment, that we can also have an affordable and clean energy in the food processing and also in the food productions. And at the same time, we try to create a lot of food product with having better in the health and also in the sensory properties so that the consumer can enjoy. So in our university, we also developing different food technology, more focusing in the food structuring. So not only pulse electric field processing, but also high pressure. So not only for the dynamic pressure, but also we use static pressure to modify the food structure. We also, for example, like Professor Kondo mentioned around food structuring, we develop different 3D printing technology for fake meat, or for example, also with the electrospinning, we produce a quite different of nanofiber. But because of the time, I will concentrate only for one technology for today. It is around pulse electric field processing. So these presentations, I will give you a highlight for three topics. So I give you what is that and how we can currently use this technology in the food industry. And then I would like to give more like integrated value, how this technology can bring different health and also sensory experience indifferently compared to the thermal processing. So how it actually this technology work? So basically, we apply the external electric field in the form of the repetitive short pulse. So in this case, we have two electrodes here that transferring high voltage in the very repetitive short pulse. It means that we also create the field strength close to the food sample that we put it between the two electrodes. So in this case, it will actually impact the cell membrane of the plant that with accumulations and attractions of the opposite charges in the cell membranes that we can create the pore formation. So for example, like in this case, if you have like a cherry or grapes product, that we can enhance leaching because we can also have like a pore formations in the cell membrane. So the pulse of the electric current that we provide to the food product is a quite minimal. It is in the microsecond unit time frame. So that is one of the equipment that we invest at Otago, that we have the generator that can deliver the pulse in the bipolar and then rectangular pulses, that we have the continuous flow that we can use for liquid and semi-solid. For example, like if you use fruit juices or, for example, smoothies. But also we have a batch system. So if you want to do like a prototype for the solid materials. So what is the the advantage of this technology? So pulse electric field processing can modify the structures of the food product. So in this case, we can improve the product properties, but also in the processing, we can make the processing more efficiency, especially when we have to deal with the mass transport. So for example, we can increase the extraction yield for the bioactives or juice productions, but in the solid materials, we can also tailor the structures of the food products. So in this case, we can enhance brining and marinating for the meat productions, but also for the plant materials. So the other advantage that we can also improve the processing is the drying. So we can also fasten the drying rate of the plant materials or also the animal materials. So at the same time, depending on the processing conditions that we use for pulse electric field processing, that we can preserve food product using pasteurizations. So in this case, we use a non-thermal. So we are using the temperature lower than 50 degrees Celsius in the combinations with the electric current. So this application, it is more applicable for the pumpable liquid food. And we can inactivate vegetative cells to prolong the shelf life, for example, like in the fruit juice or in the milk. So the beauty of this technology, as well as we can retain the freshness and also the nutrients content of the food materials that we produce. So that is like a summary what we can also do when we improve the mass transfer, because the mass transfer not only leads out the juice, but also you can lead out the bioactive, We can also here improve the drying processing, the pressing processing, and also you can also change the osmotic treatment if you do the brining. But we have also found different applications in the fast freezing and also fast diffusions if you want to implement different compounds. So I will give you some showcase for these applications. So why it is important in the sustainability? Because we would like to have food processing that can have less energy consumptions, and also the time for the processing. We try as much as possible that we make as quickly as possible so that we can save the time and the energy. So if you compare the energy consumptions when we do the improving mass transfer using, for example, like heating or freeze throwing, majorly the processing takes hours, and then at this moment, if we calculate the energy, we consume a lot of energy to run this processing. And compared to the enzymatic and mechanical, it can take you maybe hours or seconds in the processing, and it is lesser in the energy compared to PEF, because you can also process in the millisecond. So the energy that we need is quite little, for example, to improve the mass transfer. So my presentations today, I will focus more in the improvement in the processing, in the texture modifications rather than pasteurizations, because it's linked more in our applications for the post-harvest and also in the agriculture's productions. So I just give you some example for the current applications industry. So this technology has been used actually to increase the extractions. So for example, like in the wine productions, that we can also improve the juice yield. So for example, like in this case, with the different processing intensity, we can improve the juice yield. So a lot of people think, oh, it is only because you leach out a lot of water, so the Brix index is different. So based on of our research at Otago, because at the same time we release the sugar and we release also the mineral, so the Brix index after the PEF, even though we increase the juice yield, we still have the same Brix index compared to the control. So it is more efficiency in the extractions. But also importantly, for example, like in the fermentations, we have maceration. So maceration is the time that normally in the wine industry, we need to keep the mass of the grapes longer in the kettle so that they can release the phenols or anthocyanins. So majorly it takes 8 days until 14 days in the normal processing. But if we apply pulse electric field processing, that we can shorter the maceration time with the same quality of the bioactives that we produce only in the 2 days. So here that I want to show you that we can actually enhance the processing and also shorten the processing time. And a lot of people say, how is about the quality? How is about the antioxidants quality? So here that we can show that with the pulse electric fields processing, basically here with the PELF, you can increase the antioxidants capacity. And this level is quite similar, like if we actually produce control sample for 8 days or 14 days without PEF. So here that we can show also to the farmer, to the wineries, that this technology can help to improve the juice yield extractions, and it is good for the separations and also the quality of the antioxidants that we can still maintain after this processing. So the other applications that this technology has been used for the potato industry and also in the tuber industry, and a new application is also coming for meat productions too. So that is one of the examples, the beauty of this technology. As you know, in a potato, if we cut potato, it's very difficult to maintain the structure. So what benefit of this technology, because you modify the texture, so the texture that we have is more flexible. So allow us also make a different type of French fries or noodles, for example, coming from the same potato. So in this case, you can compare if it is without PEF, you cannot make a noodle from the whole potato. But with this technology, with the zero waste and without any food formulations, we can maintain the structures of the potato noodles here coming from the same tuber. So here actually you bypass actually the drying and then make a potato powder, go to the formulations, go to the noodle by having this technology. And then we can also make a very nice noodle coming from the whole potato tuber. So with this technology, you can have also different cutting, and then you can also modify the texture. So where it is actually can sit this technology. So if we simplify the par-fried French fries, normally the potato come to the washing, preheating, cutting, blanching, par-frying, and freezing before we sell to the food productions. So that is the place that we can do the pulse electric field processing to replace the preheating. So preheating is a one step in the French fries production that takes a lot of energy and water. And you also need like 30 minutes approximately to modify the textures before we cut. So with this technology, we can reduce the use of water and also the energy. So in this case, what is the beauty having more flexible potato chunks? So you can reduce the waste, so you can have more efficiency in the cutting processing. So because we already soften the texture, you can also smoothen the cutting surface. You can have also reduce the maintenance in the cutting blade, and you can also make a different type of product shapes and cut that we cannot use it without this technology. So in this case, it is going to the sustainability. We have less food waste, but also importantly here that we can reduce the water and energy consumptions. And also we can more shorter in the residence time in the processing because we remove the preheating. As a consumer, we like a fried food with this technology because we create the pore on the surface and also smoother in the surface. The oil uptake can be reduced until 15%. So it is quite interesting because we also run in the consumer trial that PEF basically can improve the crunchiness and also the color here that if you can see, you can have a lot like more homogeneous surface browning. And also here the product is more even color. And based on of our consumer study that we found that they like our PEF treated chips rather than without PEF. And all of the consumer think that the product is crunchier and crispier. So in this case, without any additives, just softly change the textures, you can already create a better product, and then the consumer like it. So now the questions, how actually in the long run for the oral processing and sensory perceptions and digestions, because all of the food productions that we create, if we want to head to the sustainable food productions, we would like to make sure that the product that we have is also healthy and the oral processing in the mouth, the experience for the consumer can be the same. So I just gave you the idea that all of the product before consumptions, we always start in our mouth. So we have a step of mastications. So in this step that I just want to make you aware that when we chew the food product is quite depending on the food structures and the food structures that we can change it from the molecular level when you make in emulsions or in the physical state when you have like different from fluid, semi-solid, soft solid, go to hard solid, that when the consumer chew, it means they have also sensory perceptions, but at the same time, you have also different oral processing that will give you the different impact on health. So currently, we also study here at Otago not only the impact in the digestibility and how actually the gut will absorb and give the health benefits, but we also study the psychology in the brain functions. So there is a lot of study that we are currently doing around the food structure. So we change the structure of the plant material. So I just give you an example, for example, like carrot. So, for example, like carrot, when we cook carrots, a lot of, like, for example, like canning, we need to add with the calcium because calcium can strengthen the cell wall of the carrots. So, what we are doing actually, how we can actually reduce the calcium for the infusions, but also fasten the infusions that can help to firming the carrot textures for the canning. So in this case, we also exposed to the different human trials that they have different participants that we can cluster them as a inconsistent chewer and consistent chewer. So in this case, that we try to assess different experience from the consumer when they chew for PEF-treated carrots together with the high thermal temperature short time, and also just with the calcium, only with the heat treatment, and only heat treatment without calcium and raw. So what we found here is a quite different. People has a different experience depending on the person, whether they can be classified as consistent chewer or inconsistent chewer. So what we study more actually, what is the impact in the stomach and the small intestine, and also we try to understand about the bioaccessibility of carotenoids. So in this case, we found that the bioaccessibility of beta carotenes is quite similar. It's again depending on the type of chewer from human itself when they do mastications of the product. But it's also important for us when we expose the PEF, what else that we can benefit in terms of the antioxidants, because beta carotene is good for eye health, but also it possesses a very high antioxidants capacity. So we also study with the cell culture. So in this case, with the Kako cell, with the cancer cell, that we try to assess, for example, the cell viability after, for example, like after oxidative stress. And we would like to understand the mechanisms behind it after we treat with the PEF. So what we do here, that we have food product after PEF, we do simulations for digestions, and then we expose the digest to the Kako cell culture. And then afterwards, we do the oxidative stress trial, and then we will assess about the cell health and also the cell integrity after we expose with the oxidative stress. So in this case, that we found with the PEF, basically in different type of cultivar. So we have a yellow solar carrots, Nutri-Red, or Nance is the orange carrot, and purple carrots, that we can find that the digest coming from the PEF-treated carrots, they can have a better ability to protect a Kako cell against hydroperoxide-induced oxidative stress. And also, we found the mechanisms how actually the bioactives can protect the cells, because they can reduce the lactate dehydrogenases leakage from the cell membrane. So here, that with the PEF, we can stop the leakage of LDAs in the different carrot cultivars. So what is the key message here that I want to share with you? That pulse electric field processing is a promising non-thermal processing technology, and we can also implement it in the post-harvest track. So really in the beginning with the agriculture, it is green because we use less water and energy. And potentially, if we want to have unique productions, we need to create a healthy food with a healthy food structures that you can have also more adequate or appropriate physiological outcomes in the long term. So for the future directions, especially when we're heading in the sustainability study, we need to have also sustainable diet. So how we can do, we need to make an integrity for food, health, and farm. So in this case, by applying the whole food chains here, we need to understand back to the consumer how we farm, how we can produce the raw materials, processing, and then how we can create the health benefits afterwards. So thank you for your attention. So if you have any questions, please let me know.
Thank you very much, Professor Oi, for your interesting presentation. Actually, some of our colleagues here also learn about PEF, and I guess maybe one of them will contact you. Maybe they want to continue study under you, if possible.
Yeah. Welcome.
Okay, we are now in the question and answer session. If you have any question, you can raise your hand and you can ask directly to Professor Kondo and Professor Oi, or also you can type your question in the Zoom chat and I will read the question for you. We already have some question here. First question is for Kondo Sensei. First question is for Kondo Sensei. It is from Professor Imam. Professor Imam is our Dean in Faculty of Agricultural Technology here.
Yes.
Kondo Sensei, could you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, as a developing country like Indonesia, we have problems with small farming to consolidate. For example, farmers generally only have less than 1 hectare of land. And on the other hand, we need smart farming to get efficiency in farming activities. What is your recommendation policy to solve this problem, especially in transition phase to implement smart farming?
Thank you very much. Good question. I always ask such similar questions. What I mentioned is we need small scale distributed smart agriculture. Okay, so that means not large scale, no big scale, some machine, tractors, combine harvesters, depends, not necessary actually. I mean those kind of larger scale combine harvesters, also tractors already have done. Have done means the Japanese companies sold, and many farmers now using. Then smart agriculture is collecting the data by those sophisticated, very expensive tractors and combine harvesters. But that is not our aiming small-scale agriculture. Our small-scale agriculture is, I showed the very small compact drone, UAV, or some small machines, very small machines. In the future, I mentioned maybe insect type, or those kind of very small. Even just a smartphone is okay. Just a smartphone is okay. And I'd like to use this camera, these LEDs, very small, very cheap. All of farmers may have this one, even farming. So those data collected by IoT and database and AI may feed back to farmers. Those kind of systems should be established. Is that okay? So that is my answer to him.
Thank you very much, Professor Kondo. And then Kondo, the second question still for Kondo Sensei from Professor Johnny Kusnadi. The agricultural sector in Indonesia and many developing countries absorb a lot of labor, while robotics or smart farming uses only less labor. According to you, in the current area, what kind of agriculture is more suitable for Indonesia especially, and many developing countries? Do we still deserve to apply robot or smart farming system in our countries?
As I mentioned, same thing. Robots and the larger machines are not indispensable, not necessary always. What we need is just a camera and a very small sensors, other sensors. Then information accumulation systems. That's enough. Okay, so start with that. Even Japanese small farmers, same thing. They cannot purchase the large scale, some sophisticated robots. They cannot purchase. Even Japanese, some mountainside, some farmers. So probably 90% of Indonesian, maybe 90% Japanese small farmers don't want such a larger scale and sophisticated robots. Just get the data, review the secret, and the more information. Achieving such a technology is important.
Yes. I think step by step we are going there. Thank you very much, Kondo Sensei. And next question is for Professor Oi. It is from from Nur Istiana, from Universitas Brawijaya and student of Kyungpook National University. Her question is it possible for PEF to replace baking process or possible to be used as pre-baking process to reduce energy intake during baking?
Okay, thank you for your questions. Normally for pulse electric field processing technology, we do not use it for baking, but we know that we are developing the technology, what we call it ohmic heating. The differences between pulse electric field processing and then ohmic heating is the level of the current and also the delivery of the current to the food product. So for the pulse electric field processing, we are using repetitive pulsing at a very, very short time that you induce the product. So what we are trying to do that we do not develop high heat inside the product. While in this case, like Nur asked, it's more creating heat. So normally, if that is the type of applications that we do, we need to have more continuous current delivery. So it is, I suggest more using ohmic heating rather than PEF.
I see. We have also question for Professor Oi. It is from Bella, Universitas Brawijaya. I know that it is possible to use PEF on meat, but when we're using PEF on meat, it allows for structure modification. Her question is, will the structure modification affect the sensory parameters of the meat after it arrives to the consumers?
We have done a different consumer study. It's very depending on the processing intensity that we use for pulse electric field processing. The good things from us with the pulse electric field processing, it can also enhance like a protein type of flavor that the consumer think it is quite positive around that. One thing that you need to remember when we apply the technology, we cannot be too high in the intensity because you will also provoke the lipid oxidations. However, that one is depending on the applications. So if you want to make, for example, like salami or dry sausage, sometimes you need that type of sensory properties too. So that is quite depending on how you can optimize the processing conditions for pulse electric field processing.
We have still a lot of questions from the Zoom chat. However, I would like to invite anyone who would like to ask the question directly. You can raise your hand if you want to ask the question directly to the speakers. It is very rare chance to discuss with them, so please use this chance as much as possible. Is there anyone who want to ask directly to the speakers? Not yet? Oh. Oh, there is a Miss Salsabila. You can unmute your microphone.
Thank you. Excuse me, Professor Nelsi Kondo.
Yes, you can ask directly.
I'm Salsabila Hanifah from Brawijaya University. I just heard from your presentation that there is a technology that can reprocess food waste. That's amazing because last time I heard there's technology that can do the same but for bread only, but yours is getting more specific with more option of food waste. Has technology been implemented? If so, where is it applied? Thank you.
Sensei, yes, she asked about the technology to process the food waste. Usually, she said that it is usually for bread, but maybe it can be used for any other kind of food.
That is most important. When you are wasting, when you are roasting, you have to separate into edible part and unedible part. So, and how to get some usable material from those. That is a new technology necessary. So please discuss with your members. I have not so much ideas. Please, that is the most important issue now.
Okay, thank you very much, Professor Kondo. Actually, Kondo Sensei expertise is in robotics in agriculture and also biosensing engineering. If you have any question on the sensing technology and or robotization, you can ask to Kondo Sensei. And next question is for Professor Oi. It is anonymous. He or she asked about, could you please explain more about chewing quality of PEF food? How PEF could affect the chewing quality?
Okay. So it's quite depending on the food product that you choose with the PEF. If you are using fruits and vegetables, depending on your intensity for the processing, the product will be more chewy because you cannot compare with the fresh produce. But if you compare with the thermal treatment, you have more soft, the type of the properties. But again, here, pulse electric field processing normally we use as an intermediate process, not as a final processing.
We still have more questions for you, Professor Oi, from Maharani, from Usahit. What is the leverage attribute of PEF technology to implementation in developing country? Because in Indonesia, there are several raw materials like exotic fruit like Morinda citrifolia, Dukin, etc. Could processing become healthy drink? Actually, I also want to ask about this traditional drink of Indonesia. For example, jamu. Could it
Jamu.
be sterilized also with PEF?
Yeah, so I think if you want to apply this technology in Indonesia, is quite good for the extractions, and that one is will help you to extract, for example, like to make a juice or to make a smoothie that can have better digestibility and bioaccessibility of the food compounds that you want to expose or the bioactives. And also, for example, like in this case, I'm not so familiar with the fruit that you mentioned here, but we can also extract for pigment or also for the flavor too. So it is a quite good processing aid with the low energy consumptions.
Okay, thank you very much for your answer, Professor Oi. We have more question for Kondo Sensei. It is from Iqbal from Universitas Brawijaya. How actually several sensing methods such as fluorescence, NIR, ultrasonic play a role to produce new food culture regarding diversing food product and standard of food? How these many kind of sensor play a role in developing a culture of food?
We have many ways to sense, to measure the agriculture products. Yeah, as I mentioned, fluorescence is one of them, imaging, and some multi-spectral or hyperspectral imaging, and the sound. Yeah, you mentioned the super ultrasonic was those. And electrical data also important, and those kind of data, those kind of sensors sometimes some needs touch. Okay, so of course, non-invasive is a very basic thing that we are thinking. Our standing point, our viewpoint is non-invasive. Hopefully, no touch, no touch. Then the also quick, the time. So those kind of process time and some non-destructive way would be the more desirable in our field. So of course, cheap technologies. So from those viewpoints, I reached the fluorescence. Fluorescence imaging is cheap and non-destructive, no touch. Also, very important information is included in the many kinds of fluorescence spectral images, and quick. So many advantages we have. So that's the reason we are taking. Of course, but other sound sensor, also electric sensors, also important. Okay, that's
Thank you very
answer.
much, Kondo Sensei. Actually, I also thinking about this. In developing countries, we need a cheap technology, and also I'm also try to develop that kind of technology. Maybe some kind of current technology like NIR imaging is very expensive. However, I heard one of my friend in Saudi Arabia developing quantum dot-based sensor, and it can produce a camera with half price of the in-gas camera. So maybe in the future we will have cheaper and cheaper technology to implement in also developing country. We have one last question for Professor Kondo. We have one last question about how in Japan you teach who teach the farmer to use the high technology, because maybe farmer doesn't have engineering background or doesn't know how to use the very high technology device, and how you teach the farmer. Is it from company or the government have some institute to teach the farmer, or how?
In Japan, our farmer is a very small scale, as I mentioned. So we are now making some group in the local region, and probably 10 or 20, at most 50 farmers got together, and they have association. We call those groups is JA, Japanese Agricultural Association. That is JA. Most of local region have this JA. So they can make a big power. Even small farmer has a small power, but if they got together, 30 people, 40 people, then this association is a big power to purchase the new technology and to share very important information based on the database, IoT. So Japanese way is this kind of group, farmer grouping, and make a big power. It's okay. So that is
I see. I remember I also went to GA with you in some place in Japan. Okay. Last question, but actually we have more question from Professor Gugus Irianto. He is a vice rector in Universitas Brawijaya. He thank you very much for enlightening him and us, for Professor Kondo and Professor Oi. And he have question for Professor Kondo. After briefly observing your presentation, may I conclude that balancing life in a broader term is a must. How to achieve such balance in life?
Regarding the food production, probably food loss reduction is the most important issue. We can be satisfied with the current production amount. That is enough. So balance means, if you assume our final goal is humans healthy and affluent life. So definitely we have to develop new technologies for sensing and less food loss, food waste. That is one way to reach our goal. It's okay. So of course, food production and some environmental conservation always trade-off relation. That's a problem. But too much production, I feel so far. So more think about. You may know, もったいない is don't waste too good thing.
I see.
That spirit is more important. All of our some people on this planet should be shared.
Okay, thank you very much, Kondo Sensei. Actually, we still have a lot of questions from audience. However, we need to stop here because we still have other agenda. I would like to thank you very much for Professor Kondo and Professor Indrawati Oi I hope that we can discuss again in the future and we can solve the problem in the Indonesia and also all over the world together. Thank you very much, Professor Kondo and Professor Oi.
Terima kasih. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, since the plenary session, the first plenary session already over, I would like to thank to all audience and also please continue to participate in this Icgab 2021. I will give back the time to the host. Thank you very much.
Thank you to Dr. Dimas Firmanda Alriza. And now we will start the second plenary session. For the second plenary session, it will be led by Dr. Muhammad Nurholis. And this is the highlight of his curriculum vitae. This is his educational background: doctorate at Applied Molecular Bioscience, Yamaguchi University, Japan. And this is his recent publication. Dr. Muhammad Nurholis also expertise and interest about food microbiology and biotechnology. Without wasting any time, I'd like to give a very warm welcome to our moderator, Dr. Muhammad Nurholis.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you. You are still join and participate in this ICGAP 2021. So from now, I would like to be your moderator in the second plenary session. Before I start the plenary session, I would like to introduce our speakers. In the second session, we have two speakers. The first is Associate Professor Yung Hunjung from Kyungpook National University, South Korea. And the second presenter is Associate Professor Irnia Nurika from Universitas Brawijaya. And for the first presenter, I would like to read the CV of Associate Professor Yung Hunjung. He obtained his master and doctorate degree from Korea University, South Korea. And he's now head major in food biotechnology, School of Food Science and Biotechnology, Kyungpook National University. And also he is Chief Technology Officer, Food and Bioindustry Research Institute, Kyungpook National University. His recent publication is Characteristic Variation of Bacterial Nanocellulose. So it's related with his topic today, and his expertise in food biotechnology. For the second presenter, we have Associate Professor Irnia Nurika. He obtained his master degree from Universitas Brawijaya, and he obtained his PhD degree from Biotechnology University of Warwick, United Kingdom. Her current position is Head of Bioindustry Laboratory, Universitas Brawijaya. And she also is an Editor-in-Chief, Journal of Agricultural Technology, Universitas Brawijaya. Her recent publication is the identification of ethanol and aromatic compounds from the lignification of potash using plebia sp. And her expertise is biotechnology, bioenergy, and biorefinery. So let's go on to the presentations. The first presenter is Associate Professor Yung Hunjung. Hello, Professor Yung. How are you?
Hi. How are you? Good, thank you.
Good, thank you. Can you hear my voice clearly?
So can you hear me well?
Okay, that's good.
And
Okay.
can you show my PPT? It's just fine, right?
I cannot see.
Can you see or cannot?
Okay. Okay. Now I can see. Okay. Now it's time for you to start your presentation. Please, time is yours.
Okay, thank you. Hi, everybody. My name is Young Hoon, and I really appreciate for your humble invitation in this nice symposium. And actually, I visited 2 years ago Indonesia, and I really miss all of you guys, and probably some students meet me. And today, I'm going to talk about utilization of the biomass resources to produce biomaterials, which is focusing on nanocellulose itself. And in this talk, I mostly focused on the marine biomass and the utilization of the cellulose from the marine biomass as a functional cosmetic material and also functional packaging material. That's what I would like to focus on now. And before going further, this is my website, the front page. And my laboratory is Food Bioengineering Laboratory. And I'm working for the Gyeongbuk National University. And I forgot to write the address, web address. However, you can find it from the Google, probably, not sure. Anyway, I'm focused on, I'm kind of new professor, so new researcher. So I focus on various things. So first, my main focus is this biomass and biomass platform technology for the production of biosugars or biomaterials or biofuels, that kind of things is my real major. And currently I focused on the study of probiotics and prebiotics and also microbiome things for the development of like a personalized food system. And going further with the probiotics, the second topic I'd like to focus on now is what I type is general future food. However, the more specifically, it is slightly focused on the like a cultured meat, the faked meat, right? Faked meat using artificial animal meat cell and also by using 3D printing. So, these are what I'd like to investigate. I'd like to study. Oh, thank you, Istanya. Yeah, she was that. All right, my website address. So you can check it. And this is very simple notions, concept. Renewable resources is like a consists of natural sources and natural energy and recyclable substrates. And here I'd like to focus on the biomass itself. The biomass is composed of first generation and second generation and third generations. Recently, some people mentioned there are fourth generation of the biomass, but while I studying, I just focus on the first and second and third generation of the biomass. And the first generation of the biomass is based on the sugar itself. And second generation is based on the lignocellulose biomass or woody biomass or agricultural waste biomass, which is based on the cellulose and hemicellulose and lignin. And third generation of biomass is from the marine side or ocean side, which is a macroalgae or microalgae, the kind of algae systems. And this biomass is usually consists of 35 to 50% of the cellulose and 20% of the hemicellulose and 20 to 30% of the lignin. And the people usually want to focus on the utilization of the cellulose and hemicellulose itself. And as a byproduct, the people also focus on the utilization of the lignin itself. As you probably know, cellulose is the polymers compound based on the glucose monomers, and hemicellulose is consisting of like a xylose mainly, and some of the glucose and galactose, arabinose, and mannose. And lignin is heteropolymeric polymers. And until like 5 years ago or 10 years ago, the researchers are focused on the using biomass to produce the carbohydrate sources called biosugar, mainly glucose. And using that sugar, the people want to ferment the sugar to produce some kind of biomaterials, which is monomer compound like ethanol for the production of ethylene or butanol for the production of biobutanol, right? And this ethanol and butanol can replace the current biofuel system like petroleum-based fuel and like a diesel-based fuels, the kind of fuels. And the people slightly avoid to produce biofuels right now, and they are focused on in terms of fuel fields, they are focused on the bioaviation fuel for the jet fuel, which is called jet fuel recently. And they changed their utilization way of the biomass from biofuel to the biomaterials. And they do not degrade the biomass to sugar. They just extract the biomass like a polymers, like a cellulose or lignin itself to produce composite or materials so that they can produce like a plastic materials. So in this study, I'd like to focus on the polymer materials first. Cellulose is the most abundant biodegradable sustainable polymers, and it is linear polysaccharide consisting of glucose unit mainly, which is linked by beta-1,4 glycoside bond. And the cellulose is not exactly, but 99% of the same with the starch molecule, which is also composed of the glucose unit, but the linkage is only the alpha-1,4 linkage. I'm sorry, I need to change the one option. Sorry about that. Yeah. So the nanocellulose cellulose, originally we know the cellulose is based on the just glucose molecule. However, in deep side, the cellulose is composed of not glucose only. The cellulose is composed of the fiber itself, and the fiber is also consisting of fibrils, and the fibrils is divided. It can be divided as a microfibrils or elementary fibrils, which is similar to the nanofibrils. So the cellulose can be classified as a micro and nano cellulose, and also fibrils and crystal cellulose. And basically the fibril cellulose, the elementary fibril cellulose is composed of like a 5 to 6 glucose molecule surrounding by the like a 12 or 20 glucose or hemicellulose molecules. That's what we call as a nanocellulose. And nanocellulose is also from the like a woody or lignocellulose biomass, or like even in the marine biomass. So it shows like a renewable or biodegradable advantages. And the surface of the nanocellulose is much higher. You can guess, right? Compared to the cellulose itself, nanocellulose has the terminology of the nano, so the surface is very higher than normal cellulose. That's why the cellulose has a high specific surface area, resulting in the high specific strength and modulus. And the high specific surface gives various characteristics, various advantageous properties of the nanocellulose. And as I said, we can classify the nanocellulose as a nanofibril, microfibril, or nanocrystal or microcrystal. And these are just cellulose nanofibril or cellulose microfibril. And in the European side, they are originally, they are usually focused on the CNF is not focused on. They are just calling CNF. The nanocellulose is a cellulose nanofibril, but the American side, they are calling the cellulose, not cellulose nanofibril, they're calling nanofibrillated cellulose. And this is usually produced from the mechanical or chemical treatment. And the crystals usually produced from the hydrolysis using acid, like a chemical treatment. And there is another type of the cellulose called BC, bacterial cellulose, and it is produced from the fermentation. And as far as I know, like nata de coco from the southern eastern countries or Malaysia or Philippines, nata de coco, one of the gel, food gel, is produced by this bacteria as a cell meat. Skip it. And if we do the mechanical pretreatment to produce the nanocellulose or microfibrillated cellulose, these fibrils from the cellulose is extracted from the cellulose fiber itself, right? The energy input, more energy input shows the higher the amount of the fibrils like this. And these fibrils increase the reactivity or the surface properties of the microfibrillated cellulose, like water retention or the surface accessibility or the ionic content in the surface area, or like absorption degree of the light or the chemical dye is keep increasing depending on the increment of the mechanical pretreatment. So these fibrils can be used as a composite or films or such like filters or food and cosmetics. And the crystal is slightly different. Crystal shows this kind of short, rice-like material, not like a fibril. And their length is also much smaller than the fibril. So they shows very distinct properties like a TV monitor, like they can be transparent. So the cellulose is originally composed of a crystalline area and the amorphous area, which is not crystalline, and which is the point for the enzymatic or like a chemical degradation. And after degradation of this amorphous region, we can obtain only crystalline region, which is more pure compound. So using these crystals, not this. Using these crystals, we can, sorry about that. This kind of, through this kind of a process, like hydrolysis and dilution or the purification, we can obtain this type of different crystals. And what I studied is that after only the extra hydrolysis, we can also obtain these crystals, not necessarily going further for the dilution and washing step. However, the dispersibility of the crystals can be obtained only when we obtain the much more pure compound after following the dilution and washing steps. So the specific surface area of the crystals is rapidly increasing after just hydrolysis. That's what I studied. And after the bacterial cellulose is also produced by a number of acetic acid bacteria, mostly Acetobacter or gluconoacetobacter or Kamagateibacter. And this bacterial cellulose is also called the bacterial nanocellulose because it composed of the nano-sized molecules of the cellulose. And as you can see from the SAM, if we add some kind of other molecules then the fiber is more dispersed and thinner, and the high amount of the bacterial cellulose can be produced. So this bacterial cellulose is produced from microorganism itself. So we can use this bacterial cellulose as a biocompatible material for the like a healing or like a bonding material, or for the alternative of the like our skin. So this is what people are studying now. And skip this because of the time probably. And yeah, as you can see here, the bacterial cellulose can be used as a like a bondage or mask pack. And in Korea, this we mostly the mask pack. One sheet of the mask pack is less than $1. However, the mask pack from the bacterial cellulose is like a $10. So, and people still purchase this biocellulose. And skip. And today I'm gonna focus on the nanocellulose, which is nanofibrillated cellulose and also nanocrystal cellulose from Gelidium amashi, umukasari, one of the red algae. And we produced this nanocellulose and used as an anti-inflammatory functional material for the cosmetics. And Gelidium amashi is one of the red algae, and probably not sure, but I think this red algae can be easily seen, observable in Indonesia area. And this shows the high carbohydrate content, like a 50 to 70% of the carbohydrate content, and among them, like a 20% of the carbohydrate is is a cellulose molecule. And mostly the Gelidium amashi is used for the production of agar. You know, agar and agarose and agaropectin, one of the media component you are using for the growth of the microorganism. And this agar is after the extraction of the agar, and there is also another molecules like a carrageenan or capecarrageenan, or like this kind of other polysaccharide molecules also can be extracted to use as food sources. And there is a still waste material, about 20 or 30%. And from the waste material, we can extract cellulose. So we extract the cellulose from the waste material from the Gelidium amashi after agar extraction. And the cellulose can be used as like cosmetics, or this mask, or also various of cosmetic materials. So we analyze the carbohydrate content using different kinds of the red algae sources. And Gelidium amashi shows the highest component of the glucan, which is also the cellulose molecule, and also agar. So we remove the agar using the distilled water at high degrees temperatures for 10 minutes, and we obtain 40% more glucan content. And after blending, there are, as I said, there are lots of different ways for the production of the fibrils, but mostly focused on the mechanical pretreatment. And I just use the blender, not like a grinder or not like a high pressure homogenizer, because the blender is the easiest way. Because if you see the TV and there is some kind of the home shopping, you know, the home shopping, right? Shopping through the TV show, and they are selling a lot of like a blender machine, which is very cheap and not expensive, and their rotating speed is very high. At the time, the highest speed was 37,000 RPM, but recently I found that there were over 50,000 RPM blender. So you can easily buy the blender to produce the cellulose. So I remove the agar and I extract the cellulose at around micro nanoscale. And as you can see, the galactan compound is rapidly decreased. And after blending, we obtained this kind of fiber molecules, right? So we analyzed the sizes of the fiber, and the fiber contains like 700 nanometer fibrils to 75,000 nanometer. So we found that this fiber is very heterogeneous material. So so currently we'd like to do the fractionation of these fibrils to control the properties more. Anyway, using that cellulose microfibril, we found the morphological properties like we also found that here the 300 something like the centimeter wavelengths, and this peak, this and this and this peak shows this produced cellulose microfibril is a cellulose, contains cellulose moiety. And after this blending, we measure the water retention, which is also an indirect measurement way of the specific surface area. So water retention is abruptly increased, and also we measure the enzyme protein binding for the this CTCBD3 is a cellulose binding protein. So this one indirectly measures the cellulose amount, right? So cellulose surface amount. So we use the cellulose binding protein to measure the cellulose content, cellulose specific surface area, and we found that the increase of the blending time increased the surface area. And also, as you can see here, after 5 months, this is the normal cellulose, and after 5 months, the blended material shows still dispersed in the water, right? So we can use this cellulose microfibril as a dispersion material, like in cosmetics or in food system. This is probably because of the highest specific surface area showing the highest fibrillation degree of the cellulose microfibril. And also, very similarly, we obtained the cellulose nanocrystal. And after the treatment by the sulfuric acid, and this cellulose nanocrystal was obtained. This is the summary. And after pre-treatment, removal of the agar at 100 degrees C, we can obtain the cellulose nanocrystal, which is sizes is around 20 nanometer and 300 nanometer. And after 2 days, it still shows the dispersion ability, right? And we forgot to measure the dispersion ability after 5 months, so we just my students just throw out the sample, so we cannot measure this dispersion ability. However, pretty sure that after at least 1 month or 2 months, this phenomenon is maintained. And also, we also measure the structural properties using FTIR and the increase of the specific surface area of the cellulose nanocrystal using the cellulose binding protein. And using this kind of cellulose fibrils and cellulose crystal, we measure this anti-inflammation effect using ROS, induced by ROS. ROS is a reactive oxygen species. So the produced 2 types of the cellulose showed this one is microfibril, shows the no effect of the cell viability, and also after addition of the cellulose microfibril, the induced COX-2 expression is again reduced, meaning that the microfibril is recovering the cell expression system. So the intensity was decreased, and depending on the each mechanism, the microfibrils inhibit the phosphorylation of the junk and P13 at ERK system. Using this mechanism, the microfibrils can be recover the scratch, recover the scratch induced by the ROS. So we also measure investigate the effect of the nanocrystal, and we obtain the similar result in vitro. And also in vivo, using the mouse model, we found that the epithelial thickness was recovered by treatment of the cellulose microfibril and cellulose nanofibril. And the degree of the recovering is very similar to the RA, one of the commercial material. And this is what we see for the effect of the cellulose microfibril and cellulose nanocrystal for the treatment, not exactly treatment for the, but like a recovering of the UV effect. And after that, I'd like to briefly explain about the pH indication by the cellulose nanofiber for the monitoring of the pork freshness. So intelligent packaging is kind of a monitoring system for the food conditions, right? So it is measuring directly the quality of the food product inside of the packaging. And there are different indicator system. And in this system, I use freshness indicators using the RRC, one of the anthocyanin component, using cellulose nanofibril. And previously, there are studies using cellulose nanofibrils for the optical properties and mechanical properties, or like oxygen or gas barrier properties. So we think the nanocellulose can become a possible candidate to use as a packaging material. Before going to the cellulose, we obtain the normal commercial anthocyanin solutions and check the pH difference, check the color change of the anthocyanin solution. And this anthocyanin solution, RRC material, is incorporated into the cellulose nanofibrils, and the ratio of the RRC to the cellulose nanofibril and different concentration of the cellulose nanofibril is made to the composite, and the mechanical properties like modulus and tensile strength was investigated, and we found that 1% of the cellulose nanofibril is better than other concentrations. So using the 1% of the cellulose nanofibrils with the different concentrations of the anthocyanin compound, we found that we investigate the sensitivity to the ammonia. Ammonia is contains the nitrogen sources, right? So we guess while the decaying of the meat, the nitrogen compound will be released from the meat. So we found that these films can be detect the different concentrations of the ammonia, and we measure the structural properties of the cellulose nanocellulose with the anthocyanin component. And also the anthocyanin component can be possible to be released to the food. It's we call this a migration effect, right? So the anthocyanin is also fine, but if the anthocyanin is changed into the chemical, and the chemical, if migrated into the food, then we cannot consume the food itself. So we investigate the migration effect using the solubility test. And also this film showed the enough ability of the gas permeability. And we investigate the different changes of the meat freshness during the storage. And after 6 days of the storage at refrigerator, we found that the pH indicator color is slightly changed, right? Like a red color is into the purple color, and this is based on the like a microorganism, which is total psychrophilic count means that the microorganism can be produced during the storage at the refrigeration temperature, and this microorganism produced some kind of a total basic nitrogens, and this nitrogen probably changed this color, right? So we found that this film can be used. So this is what I prepared today's session. And thank you for the thank you for your participation.
Thank you, Professor Jung, for your nice talk. Before we start the Q&A, I would like to continue to next speakers. The second speaker is Associate Professor Irnia Nurika. So are you ready, Bu Irnia? Are you there, Bu Irnia?
Okay, it's been unmute, so let me try to share screen. Sorry.
Okay. Can you hear my voice?
Wait, just yeah.
Okay.
Just wait
That's
a moment.
Good. Okay, we can start the second presentation from Associate Professor Irnia Nurika. So to Dr. Irnia Nurika, time is yours.
Okay. Wait a moment.
Bu Irnia, can you share your screen?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you see?
We can see. Thank you.
Sorry. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to give the talk in this very nice conference. So I'm Irnia Nurika from Department of Agro-Industrial Technology. Thank you, Prof. Hun, to give a brief introduction about lignocellulose. So I probably have less work to describe what is lignocellulose is to the audience. Today, I would like to give a talk about the integrated lignocellulosic biorefinery for circular green economy in Indonesia. So I put Indonesia in the bracket because, as far as I know, the implementation of circular green economy or bioeconomy related to the lignocellulosic biorefinery especially is not quite obvious, in my opinion. Okay, I have 4 outlines today to share what I have been done so far. So first introduction, and then the potential of biomass or lignocellulose tropical biomass, and then the biorefinery concept, a circular bioeconomy, and the challenge and future. So if you look at in the picture in the screen, basically about the base global energy, if we can see in here the total world energy, both for the production and consumption, show that, I don't know if everyone could see in the map here, the first and the second rank of the world total energy production is produced, the highest contributor to increase global energy is the China and the USA. So if you look at the trend production of the energy of 1990 till 2019, it shows that the highest percentage of energy produced from crude oil, coal, and gas, while the biomass was only contributing about 9% of our total energy. So again, if you look at in here, actually Indonesia was in the rank 7, which contributed to the production of our total energy. So if we look at more detail about the specifically world renewable energy in electricity production, Norway, that's three first rank is Norway, Brazil, and New Zealand. They are the 3 largest contributors to the world renewable energy in electricity production. In this case, unfortunately, Indonesia has not included to even as the 10 most contributor toward renewable energy. But if you look at on the graph here, for Norway, they are the highest contributor for the production of renewable energy. And in the opposite here, Indonesia, in the opposite here, Indonesia only contribute about 11% for the world renewable energy. So I will talk specifically about the Indonesia, how actually, especially for the biomass, since the biomass emerged as a pivotal renewable energy source to overcome the current and future need of humankind, as well as play a major role in the implementation of a biorefinery in circular bioeconomy. So my today's presentation will only focus on the biomass production and its utilization, especially on lignocellulosic biomass toward the development integrated biorefinery and circular economy. So this is the about the lignocellulose, especially in the tropical region. Yeah. As Prof. Hun previously mentioned, that we actually have a big potential to produce tropical biomass, and these are most tropical biomass feedstock, which are potentially sustainable source for the production of biorefinery product, but these have different characteristics between each of the feedstock due to the structure. So in here, we can look at the most tropical biomass is sugarcane, corn stubble, rice straw, bagasse, empty fruit bunch, coconut fiber, and wood waste. However, about 40% of the residue from the agriculture are estimated to be on the field, and 20 till 3% is directed as a fodder for the animal. Again, if you look at the detailed structure of the biomass, which consists of cellulose, hemicellulose, and lignin, so it's basically every biomass has different characteristic composition of the lignocellulose. For example, if you look at on the picture, the highest cellulose and can be found from corn cob, while cacao pod produce high percentage of lignin. So compared to the cellulose, hemicellulose, and lignin, lignin actually acts as the barrier in the hydrolysis process because of its hydrophobic structure. And therefore, the biomass pretreatment is considered as a process step to remove lignin and hemicellulose that could improve the accessibility of cellulose, while in the proposed circular bioeconomy, the challenge of developing pretreatment is to effectively recover all the 3 fractions for the biorefinery. So we are now going to talk about the biorefinery concept or integrated biorefinery. So if everyone could see, there are several terminology about the biorefinery. The first one, in the most advanced sense, a biorefinery is a facility with integrated, efficient, and flexible conversion of biomass feedstock through combination of physical, chemical, biochemical, and thermochemical process into multiple products. So it's basically the integrated biorefinery was employed to efficiently produce high value product from different feedstock, such as lignocellulosic biomass. Also, there are other biomass like algae, food waste, and manure. But in my talk today, I would like just to focus on the lignocellulosic biomass. This is the hierarchy to indicate the value of the product obtained through integrated biorefinery of lignocellulosic biomass. So basically, the traditional biorefinery concept aims to produce a biofuel, subsequently reducing the extraction of value-added chemical. So since the availability of raw material and the technology was limited, and therefore integrated biorefinery concept was introduced to increase production and economic value. So if we look at a bit detail on the picture, the hierarchy picture here, the hierarchical image indicate that the value of the product, so there are 5 types of products, start from energy, biofuel, activated carbon, phenolic compound, and then carbon fiber, and then finally phenol and derivatives of phenol. So if you look at the hierarchy in here indicate that the value of the product obtained through integrated biorefinery of lignocellulosic biorefinery, the lowest of the biorefinery product actually is bioenergy, followed with the biofuel, but it can produce into high volume. Yeah. However, and the vanillin or phenol and derivative of lignin is the higher value, which actually a bit difficult to produce in the big or high volume due to the yield of the production of this product. So vanillin is actually one of the major molecule component that can be derived from lignin and can be used as a flavoring agent. If you look at here in this bracket, try to find the price of the product to compare between the bioenergy, bioethanol, and biobutanol throughout the aromatic compound. So here the price is a big difference if we compare. However, as I mentioned again, the technology to produce this compound is not that easy due to the presence of lignin. Again, this is the possible pathway for the valorization of cellulose, hemicellulose, and lignin. So there are multiple valorization techniques available that can be deployed to refine the lignocellulose biomass into over 100. So we saw only couple, but actually into over 100 value-added chemicals. If we look at the upper portions of the figure, the peak variety promising feedstock. So whereas so we can use different type of feedstock, what I mean. Whereas in the lower version here, a progressive sequence of substance, which may be formed from C5 or C6 of sugars by chemical or biological pretreatment. So how the detail of a bio-based product can be produced by agricultural residue or biomass, actually it can be through 4 different types of biorefinery platform. what is the biorefinery platform. So when we are working with the biorefinery, we can work through this. In generally, there are 4 types of different platforms. Hopefully, everyone can see what is the difference between these 4 platforms. The first one is the lignocellulose feedstock biorefinery, and the second platform is whole crop biorefinery, and the third is the green biorefinery, and the fourth is the 2 platform biorefinery. So basically, as I'm working a lot with the lignocellulose feedstock, is probably the most advanced in terms of technology development. So actually, the LCB, or lignocellulose biomass, utilize the natural dry of feedstock, such as agricultural residue, as I mentioned previously. So this is the step of how the platform of LCB can produce the value-added chemical and bioenergy. While the whole crop biorefinery, so the difference is actually from the raw material. While we are working with the whole crop, it can be used both grain and straw to produce the value-added products, bio-based product. While the green biorefinery mostly using the green grasses. So if you look at in here, it can be in the process divided into 2 primary product, juice and cake, and then it can be produced a secondary product. And the last is the 2 platform biorefinery. So using the biomass, we can go into 2 different platforms in the same time. So the first one is sugar platform, and the second one is syngas platform, which also will produce a different type of bio-based product. This is another example of bio-based product produced from several platforms. If you look at in this picture, so this is the raw material and the platform they use, and this is the primary product and secondary product. So basically, there are 2 types of product can be developed through the biorefinery process. First, the primary product, and the second is the secondary product. That both will help to generate the development of circular bioeconomy through different type of different platform. So the use is of biomass in a practical point of view is needed to be maintained. Yeah, starting from the design of the product to its management to satisfy the circular bioeconomy. So if we talk about circular bioeconomy, again, we can find some of terminology about biorefinery. So if I can read the first concept, the initial concept was actually outlined in 1990 and has captured the attention of people or industry in the later of 2000. So it's basically, if you can read, this is the terminology, the circular bioeconomic concept mainly points out the recovery of all the product from resources with no discharge of waste. Yeah. So, and the biomass used for the production are highly significant with concerning the product and the production of energy. So the next, I would like to show the detailed concept of circular bioeconomy. We can see in this figure. So this is the concept circular of bioeconomy. So if you look at on the picture, the sustainable economy actually could be achieved by incorporating a concept of circular bioeconomy. For example, the economic system that reuse and recycle feedstock by maintaining the restoration of resources. So the main objective of a circular bioeconomy is to replace the end of life phase by regaining the natural resources, the use of renewable energy, toxic chemical and eliminate zero discharge, yeah, by modifying the design of entire system and the business model. So again, if you look at on this picture, the total energy supplement is actually could be obtained from the forest residue, from the agricultural residue of the lignocellulosic biomass. So, and then the life cycle assessment of the biomass could help to maintain circular bioeconomy by identifying the possibility of waste production from the start of life to the end of life. So the circular bioeconomy is actually start with the usage of biological material feedstock, yeah, and deal with the process under going in industry and the efficiency of the resources in the complete chain of the life cycle. So the whole unit of the circular bioeconomy actually related to the material and energy input, like, for example, non-renewable energy resources that are entirely will be replaced by the biological resources. Again, I would like to show the role of biorefinery in circular economy. Here, if we look at the picture, hopefully again everyone could see the PowerPoint I share here. So the gray one, this one, is actually the biorefinery platform. So we have different type of platform here. The first one, the yellow one, is chemical conversion, and what is this one is the I forgot the color, the biological conversion, and the green one is thermochemical conversion, and this one mechanical conversion. So it's basically there are several types of a platform that can produce both primary product and secondary product. If you look at the dark gray, dark blue, and then a little bit light of blue, and more lighter blue, showed the different type of product that can be produced from different platform of biorefinery. So this is actually the general role, how the biorefinery product can be produced, yeah, and it will then relate to the circular biorefinery. So actually, the prior refer to as the raw bioproduct. This is this one, the prior, while the later represent the refined product. So in most cases, the later is the higher value compared with the prior one through a further process refinement. I has been already described related to the hierarchy. So in which product we are going to obtain, it is really depend on the several factors. For example, relates to the how the technology we use, how the circular bioeconomy can be developed very well. It's also related to the how the technical, financial that I would like to explain a little bit. The challenge and future prospect relate to the development of circular bioeconomy. So that there are three types of challenge here: technical, financial, and social awareness. For the technical challenge, actually there are general challenges related to the biomass supply, and then the technology and transportation. The viability of supply chain from the point of generation of feedstock until it gets into a processing facility, it's actually a challenge. Yeah, basically we at the moment a lack of proper coordination, especially in Indonesia, for the supplying information of supplying feedstock. And then for the technology barrier, it also relates to how to scale up from the experiment scale to industrial scale. So this is still a major problem or challenge related to this development of refinery related to the circular bioeconomy. And then the transportation is also a crucial step which will affect to the cost of production. And therefore, the key step used to maximize the efficiency of transportation are biomass size. And then because most of the biomass size are bulky, so we should manage how we can minimize it, probably with the drying or compaction process. The location of the biomass is also another critical factor in logistic planning. So there are several challenges that we are facing, how we can develop the biorefinery very well regarding the circular bioeconomy. Well, and related to the technical challenge, all the consequence of the efficiency of technical will affect to the financial. For example, the use and efficiency of facility, it will relate to the financial challenge, and the technology, of course, and the supply chain risk, and then as well as the how the fluctuation of the price of the bioproduct itself. Well, for the social awareness challenge, relate to the insufficient human capital and expertise, as well as the overall sustainable awareness in biorefinery. So infrastructure and environmental factor include with the inadequate of population, especially with the agriculture service, will also become a big challenge for the developing of circular bioeconomy. So public and industry awareness pending to improve the demand of the bioproduct is also depend on the consumer behavior and market acceptance. So while on the policy, of course, the intervention and subsidize of the government will influence how the circular bioeconomy will be developed very well. So in general, again, we could see based on the SWOT analysis of lignocellulose biorefinery. So there are strength, weakness, and opportunity related to the developing of circular bioeconomy. So this is actually basically if I can resume from the SWOT analysis, the factors such as climate change, decarbonizing the fossil economy, and uncertainty in availability of fossil source have led the way to look out to search for the potential alternative, while the higher capital and short operation investment lacking a technical process. So biorefinery have offer several promising opportunity in terms of the reduction of greenhouse gases emission and several major that could positive interest as a key chemical in the biorefinery project. Again, in general, prospect for the future prospect, I would like to resume some of the advantage of opportunity that we do have with advantage for the development in expensive and commercial viable process. We can do more research toward the development of value-added chemical, and Indonesia actually has the potential to create a strong lignocellulose biomass for value-added chemicals, bioenergy, and biomaterial. This is the future prospect. And regarding this, I would like to share what I have been done so far related to my research to support the development of lignocellulose biorefinery in Indonesia. So here I would like to, I have still have time. I would like to share that I have some of the keywords related to my research. First, the integrated biorefinery, zero waste, lignocellulose, and optimization. Okay. In the first, actually, I started research related to the lignocellulose biorefinery. It's not more than 10 years. So in the first years, when I just finished my study, I would like to optimize the biological pretreatment using fungi to produce value-added chemical. So I have a chance to bring four different species of fungi I brought from my school when I took my PhD and try to implement in here to help to convert the biomass, tropical biomass, and to see how the ability of the fungus could break down the structure of lignocellulose. And I mostly a lot of working with Serpula lacriman, which is one of the most aggressive fungus that could degrade lignocellulose. This is the experiment we actually just we done. So I tried to compare here the corn cob and then sugarcane bagasse, and this is the softwood, and this is the hardwood, and this is the poddy straw. We would like to try to see how the effective or ability of the fungus could break down lignocellulose from different type of biomass to produce value-added chemical. For the detail, everyone could see my paper here. And then the next experiment, I think still related with the previous one, it shows that different type of biomass show different characteristic or profile relate to the lignocellulose, the degradation of lignocellulose. So we can see how the produce of sugar, of phenol, and the change of pH, as well as the change of white loss, it's a pretty different between each of the feedstock. And it can be confirmed from the same analysis that different of feedstock is basically showed change between untreated and treated sample, that actually using fungus, the whole cell of fungus, could show how they can break down the structure of this type of feedstock. So more detail, again, still relate to the biorefinery, how that of all of this feedstock could produce value-added chemicals. So in this experiment, I would like to optimize the condition of extraction. So it shows that this biomass could produce vanillin, although still in the very low yield. So this is again our challenge when we are working with the lignin. The production of the product it's very low. So we need still to optimize the condition how we can produce the derivative of lignin into more high of the yield. Another paper probably everyone interested to read. And there's again, we confirm how they can produce several type of value-added chemical from the breakdown, especially lignin. So again, I would like to talk that I'm mostly working with lignin instead of working with cellulose or cellulose due to produce the value-added chemical or aromatic compounds. The same result, it's so that we detect some value-added chemical, ferulic acid, vanillin, and other value-added chemical compound. And then another compound that we can produce from the feedstock biomass, actually the FAME, fatty acid metal ester. So it is very great actually opportunity that if we can develop the biorefinery production in Indonesia, because using less value for example, agricultural residue, we can produce man number of chemical compounds. And previously, I mentioned that I work with the fungus, but fungus, it takes time to in the process. So I again try to get a culture. So again, I get culture from the UK. I bring about the bacteria. So in this, recent my experiment, my research, I've been working a lot with the bacteria lignin degrader to see how the bacteria could break down the lignin. Interestingly, in this part, I'm working with Dr. Suhatini, my colleagues in this department, to see how this bacteria actually, it's not only could break down the lignin, but in the same time, they could enhance the production of the methane. So very interesting. If we can work this in the big scale, it might create some business, in my opinion. This is the result which shows using different type of biomass. It shows the enhance of on the production, the enhanced methane production using the biological pretreatment, which is I'm using bacteria. And this is another research to show how the bacteria could help break down the structure of lignin, and at the same time, they could enhance the methane production. Once another research, actually, I also working with the recombinant protein, but due to the limitation of the facility, I cannot work a lot in here, how I can identify the detail of the enzyme, for example, from the local culture that could improve the breakdown of the lignocellulose. I think that's all my presentation for today. So I would like to thanks to everyone for the attention. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Associate Professor Irnia Nurika, for nice talk, and also Associate Professor Jung. From the Zoom chat Zoom, we have several questions. The first question is come from Professor Teti. She is Vice Dean of Faculty of Agricultural Technology, Universitas Brawijaya. She wants to ask to Professor Jung, before processing into nanocrystal, cellulose containing biomaterial should be delignified to remove lignin and hemicellulose. And there are several methods for delignification. Do the methods of delignification affect the characteristics of cellulose nanocrystal and also the suitability to use in Pickering emulsion? Thank you.
Hi, Teti. Thank you for your question. As you probably guess, the cellulose is a hydrophilic material and lignin is a hydrophobic material. So, like a regulation of the, like a combination of the components of the cellulose and lignin, like make a difference of the different ratio of the cellulose and lignin, you can obtain the different characteristics, like not characteristics means there are different hydrophilicity or hydrophobicity of the material. So it probably affects to the final like hydrophilicity characteristics of the material. And when you are mixing with some other material, like making composite or make an emulsion or make something others, the hydrophilicity must be affected to the mixology characteristics. So I think definitely the lignin content on the cellulose will affect the final properties. The answer is okay?
Yeah. Okay, thank you, Professor Jung. So it's mean what kind of method that you use in your laboratory? It's a chemical or biological pretreatment?
For production of, you mean for the lignification?
Yes,
or?
For delignification. To remove the lignin.
Usually use mechanical, like a physical chemical method. mostly using just heating or microwave pretreatment, but the Irinia usually use the biological method, right? Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah,
Okay.
you can select any type of methods for your purpose.
Okay. Thank you. So the next question is delivered to Bu Irnia, to Associate Professor Irnia, from the direct message. So you mentioned that there is some application for lignin as a byproduct from lignocellulosic biomass. And what kind of application in beside aromatic compounds? You said lignin can be performed or converted into aromatic compounds. Thank you.
Actually, as Prof. Jung prefer more working with the physical. I actually working a lot with the biological. It is due to the environmental friendly and well, basically my major. So yes, as I'm previously explained that the yield, the problem is the yield. Well, when we are working with the biological pretreatment, the problem is still in the yield that we need still to optimize how we can achieve the high yield of the derivative compound of lignin. But yes, we're still working. If we can't compare between the physical and chemical, both they have positive and negative actually. So yeah, but I myself prefer to working with the biological, and very interesting when we can see how fungus or bacteria could get a structure of lignin with different characteristic. Yeah, that's my opinion.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Dr. Irnia. So you also explained to us lignin can be produced.
Sorry, I still have one. I can see one a question from, I think it is my student Novita. Can I just read the question and I just give a short answer?
Okay.
It's okay. The question is, how do we choose which one of the lignocellulose biomass in Indonesia as the most potential to be optimized? Very a nice question. So as I've described that we have a lot of plenty, enormous number of feedstock biomass, which one we could choose? So as basically the first important thing is the availability of the biomass. So we know that we have plenty number of paddy straw or other agricultural residue, but actually when we try to find which or in which number, we still facing the difficult. When we can find the huge number, enormous of paddy straw in Indonesia, it is still, we don't have a good data to see in which or where and how number actually we have the agricultural residue. But the thing, more positive, if when we use the oil palm or PEFP, oil palm empty fruit banks, because we have the industry that will support the continuity of agricultural residue, the feedstock. So we will not difficult to find the raw material. So probably I would prefer to use the one that we cannot hard to find the raw material. That's my answer for Novita. Thank you.
Okay, Dr. Irnia, so the lignin conversion to the value-added materials like vanillin or another compound, is it economically feasible or not if we produce from the lignin?
Thank you. I read several papers. Some of the researchers still try to find the technology to make the feasibility of the price, the production of vanilla. Yes, as I mentioned, we are still facing how we can produce high yield of vanillin. So I think this can answer your question. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. And another question is belong to Professor Jung from Chris Eka Budianta. he want to know in South Korea, put interest in the agricultural sector. We do. They hope about the nanocellulose technology advancement would be an appeal point for the youth generation to contribute positively in the global agricultural sector. So he want to know the nanocellulose technology advancement will be an appeal point for the young generation.
Actually, I cannot find the question.
Could you catch the question? So
yeah, so your question is in Korea or in world, the nanocellulose how can affect or how can produce? What's your question again? Tell me. Sorry.
Like positive contributions of the nanocellulose technology. Hello?
So contributions of the nanocellulose technology, you mean? So I'm not sure I understand your question all right or not, but the possible contribution of the nanocellulose is basically currently there is a industry like a pulp or paper industry, right? And the cellulose, the pulp and paper industry is mostly using for the cellulose itself. So the nanocellulose can be further developed from the pulp and paper industry first, and then the biorefinery concept can be achieved after the accomplishment of the nanocellulose. So in my opinion, nanocellulose itself is quite difficult to perform the biorefinery concept because the price of the nanocellulose is very expensive. So the Japan is trying to use the nanocellulose as a multi-component of the biomaterials. For example, to make a car, there's something like outside the door and outside the cabinet or inside the like a lot of other plastic materials, right? So the Japan is trying to use the nanocellulose as all kinds of the plastic materials. And even in Korea, the one company is trying to the nanocellulose incorporating the lignin as a biomaterial for the replacement of the car plastics. So and also another company is trying to use the nanocellulose itself as a material for the cosmetics. So the nanocellulose is cannot make the 100 cannot make a 100% circular economy. However, the nanocellulose is one candidate material for the accomplishment of the circular economy. That's what I say. I'd like to say. Yeah. Is it okay? Not sure.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Yu. And next question is for Bu Irnia from Pak Tris. How about in Indonesia? How the lignocellulose biorefinery biomass has been implemented in Indonesia? And where and how large is the project? And please mention the example, such as which location in Indonesia use the rice stalk, corn stalks, and sugarcane.
Okay, thank you for Pak Chris. Relate to the development of lignocellulose biomass in the big scale. Actually, as I mentioned in my previous presentation, I put in Indonesia in the bracket. I myself haven't find a very obvious the production of the bio-based product using lignocellulose biomass in Indonesia so far. Mostly. All of them is still in the expert lab scale. Different with the bioenergy, probably we can find several companies that produce bioenergy, bioethanol, for example, using possibly not the residue of agriculture, but yes, we still most of people or researcher or Indonesia still working in the experiment laboratory related to the lignocellulose bioproduct. In my opinion, I think, but different, of course, with the developed country, they already produce a type of a value-added compound. For example, in Norway, they already produce vanillin, and yeah, in Indonesia, we are still working on it. And I am quite challenged how we can develop, for example, the valuable products related to the lignin degradation. In this case, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Inia. We hope in the future in Indonesia also like in
Yes.
other countries, right?
Hopefully.
And produce many evaluated chemical from lignin. Next question is from Kirana. Kirana is from Ministry of Agriculture in Indonesia. The question is delivered to Professor Yung. Nowadays, we have some research about intelligent packaging that can monitor and inform about the freshness of meat. At first, we use the natural extract as pH indicator, for example, extract of dragon fruit, purple sweet potato, and turmeric. And unfortunately, it was unstable when we applied to meat storage on a pilot scale. So is there any suggestion to make it more stable under various storage conditions? So it's related to the stability.
Yeah, thanks for the question. And there are various actually color agents like carotenoid and anthocyanin, and mostly compared to the anthocyanin, the carotenoid is more stable. However, both the color agent is the stability is affected by the outside like factors like oxygen or light or temperature and pH. So you should control those factors. However, basically, my suggestion is when you think about the apple juice, you usually the producers usually use the ascorbic acid for the maintaining of the color, yellow color. So ascorbic acid can play a role as a removal of the oxygen, or like also the citric acid can be played as a chelating agent. So basically the consumable or eatable organic acid can be used to enhance the stability. Also, when you do the extract itself, you can use other extract like just not use the single molecule like carotenoid, but use the complex molecule with carotenoid to the carotenoid and anthocyanin together. Then it's much helpful for the enhancing stability, I guess. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Yung. And other question is come from Elia Sinurat from Marine and Fisheries of Indonesia. He may be, or he or she, I don't know, want to ask based on the main ingredient, Calidium amansi, werglucan, and galactan, what compounds play the most role in CMF? And how the separation?
Yeah. So the CMF is cellulose microfibril, right? So the main compound is cellulose, absolutely. And if we want to change the morphological properties of the CMF, as I said to the tactile sensor, you can add some amount of the galactose or galactan to enhance the hydrophilicity. That's what we do. And so the basic material of the CMF is cellulose, absolutely. And to separate the glucan and galactan, glucan is the the polymeric form of the cellulose, right? The monomer form of the cellulose. However, the galactan is from the mostly hemicellulose. So the answer is very simple. Like when you think about the pre-treatment, you should think about the mechanism of the pre-treatment. Then when you do the acid hydrolysis or alkaline hydrolysis, or just even water hydrolysis at high temperature, the catalyst play a role as a degradation of the catalyst firstly degrade the easy material, right? And then later at harsh condition, the catalyst attach to the more complex or more difficult molecules. So galactane is based on the hemicellulose. So if you just put a little of the heat or a little of the high temperature, or just use a little of the acid molecules, then the galactane will be extracted from the biomass itself. But the degree or the purity, you should control it. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so that means we have to remove the galactane, right?
Yeah.
In this process, and we focus on glucan.
But not for the industrial scale, you don't need to remove the galactane, because after extraction of the galactane can be used as agar sources, and then the waste material, from the waste material we should extract the cellulose. So galactane is not waste material. Galactane is a very important food sources.
Okay, that means no zero waste, right?
Yeah.
There is no waste. Okay, I think we have still many questions, but you can ask maybe in the another sessions. I think that's all the presentation from the two speakers. Thank you very much for deliver your speech and talk here.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Jung and Dr. Inya.
Thank you.
Now I will like to close this second session of plenary session. So, and I would like to give it back to the host. Thank you.
It was a very enlightening conference. Thank you to all the keynote speakers for the shared knowledge and insights. Thank you to the moderators for guiding this conference, and also thank you to all the participants for participating and attending. COVID-19 pandemic doesn't stop our faculty to create innovation, in vision to become a leading institution, address globally and challenges in food, energy, and environment by the implementation of engineering and technology. Let us all be inspired by all the things we have learned and listened throughout the 5th Icgab 2021 to implement the Internet of Things to achieve food security and green agro industry. We have already arrived at the closing plenary session of the 5th Icgab 2021. We inform all participants to join for a parallel session in the Zoom meeting room at 12:30. Don't forget, it's at 12:30. We would like to thank everyone who has participated on day 1 of the 5th Icgab. We would like to remind you to join the first International Workshop for Industry, IWI 2021, tomorrow on the 7th of July 2021, because we will be announcing of several awards. As your master of ceremony for today, it's me, Yubi Fabiona. And I, Amira Nurfadia, would like to say thank you very much for participating. See you again tomorrow, and good luck for participants who are presenting today. Good afternoon, and wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Agricultural technology is a branch of science focusing on the processing of agricultural resources using modern technology for the improvement of human welfare. To accomplish this, the Faculty of Agricultural Technology, Universitas Brawijaya, was officially established in 1998.
Faculty of Agricultural Technology is one of the largest faculties in the field of agricultural technology in East Java, Indonesia. With 3 departments and 11 study programs, we offer you a remarkable opportunity to feed the world and to help the community through food science and environmental related technology and engineering. Faculty of Agricultural Technology is the first faculty in Brawijaya University in one of 14 faculty nationally that is selected to build zone of integrity. The zone is corruption-free and provides continuous excellent services. Being a well-known faculty in the field of agricultural technology at the international level and contributing the national development through the three pillars of higher education is our vision. We are encouraged to conduct research and development in agricultural technology field and create collaboration with other parties, enhance to progress of the world agro-industry. To achieve this, we provide best facilities for our students.
The Faculty of Agricultural Technology has 11 professors and 57 doctors. They have a great reputation due to their extraordinary achievements on the national and international levels. The far-reaching reputation of the Faculty of Agricultural Technology lecturers is evidenced by their frequent invites to speak and to offer their valuable input. They have been trusted as keynote speakers and consultants for both government and private institutions. They have been reviewers of nationally and internationally reputable journals, and they have also been keynote and invited speakers at national and international seminars and events. To grow the Faculty of Agricultural Technology's lecturers' knowledge, the faculty strongly supports research activities such as joint research and publications, international conferences, postdocs, and further study at the University of Nottingham, Sheffield University in the UK, University of Western Australia, and Kyoto University in Japan. To attract students, the Faculty of Agricultural Technology promotes all of their study programs at several other universities at the national and international level. Teaching and learning activities are optimized using various innovative learning methods. Through the use of the integration system Gapura Universitas Brawijaya, all information is easily accessible electronically by lecturers and students. To broaden students' international perspectives and give them international experiences, the Faculty of Agricultural Technology gives lectures in the form of a 3-in-1 program activities, a visiting professor program, international classes, double degrees, student exchange, distance learning, short course programs, international conferences, and joint research projects. To improve students' competency and insight into the application of their knowledge, the Faculty of Agricultural Technology routinely brings in guest lecturers from industry and provides training and certifications. We continue to develop a high standard for research and education facilities, as well as establish relationships with alumni, partners, and stakeholders. Our faculty and staff are also dedicated to bringing students a high-quality education by providing state-of-the-art teaching and research. Through talking about and encouraging student participation in research and in community service with their lecturers, the Faculty of Agricultural Technology helps to improve the critical thinking, teamwork, and communication skills of their students. The Faculty of Agricultural Technology will always provide the best quality of education and commit to producing high-quality graduates. With our motto, "Do the best towards perfection," the Faculty of Agricultural Technology, Universitas Brawijaya, is ready to strengthen the agricultural technology of Indonesia. Agricultural technology is a branch of science focusing on the processing of agricultural resources using modern technology for the improvement of human welfare. To accomplish this, the Faculty of Agricultural Technology, Universitas Brawijaya, was officially established in 1998.
Faculty of Agricultural Technology is one of the largest faculties in the field of agricultural technology in East Java, Indonesia. With 3 departments and 11 study programs, we offer you a remarkable opportunity to feed the world and to help the community through food science and environmental related technology and engineering. Faculty of Agricultural Technology is the first faculty in Brawijaya University in one of 14 faculty nationally that is selected to build zone of integrity. The zone is corruption-free and provides continuous excellent services. Being a well-known faculty in the field of agricultural technology at the international level and contributing the national development through the 3 pillars of higher education is our vision. We are encouraged to conduct research and development in agricultural technology field and create collaboration with other parties, enhance to progress of the world agro-industry. To achieve this, we provide best facilities for our students.
The Faculty of Agricultural Technology has 11 professors and 57 doctors. They have a great reputation due to their extraordinary achievements on the national and international levels. The far-reaching reputation of the Faculty of Agricultural Technology lecturers is evidenced by their frequent invites to speak and to offer their valuable input. They have been trusted as keynote speakers and consultants for both government and private institutions. They have been reviewers of nationally and internationally reputable journals, and they have also been keynote and invited speakers at national and international seminars and events. To grow the Faculty of Agricultural Technology's lecturers' knowledge, the faculty strongly supports research activities such as joint research and publications, international conferences, postdocs, and further study at the University of Nottingham, Sheffield University in the UK, University of Western Australia, and Kyoto University in Japan. To attract students, the Faculty of Agricultural Technology promotes all of their study programs at several other universities at the national and international level. Teaching and learning activities are optimized using various innovative learning methods. Through the use of the integration system Gapura Universitas Brawijaya, all information is easily accessible electronically by lecturers and students. To broaden students' international perspectives and give them international experiences, the Faculty of Agricultural Technology gives lectures in the form of a 3-in-1 program activities, a visiting professor program, international classes, double degrees, student exchange, distance learning, short course programs, international conferences, and joint research projects. To improve students' competency and insight into the application of their knowledge, the Faculty of Agricultural Technology routinely brings in guest lecturers from industry and provides training and certifications. We continue to develop a high standard for research and education facilities, as well as establish relationships with alumni, partners, and stakeholders. Our faculty and staff are also dedicated to bringing students a high-quality education by providing state-of-the-art teaching and research. Through talking about and encouraging student participation in research and in community service with their lecturers, the Faculty of Agricultural Technology helps to improve the critical thinking, teamwork, and communication skills of their students. Faculty of Agricultural Technology will always provide the best quality of education and commit to producing high-quality graduates. With our motto, "Do the best towards perfection," the Faculty of Agricultural Technology, Universitas Brawijaya, is ready to strengthen the agricultural technology of Indonesia.